All right, check one, two, check one, two. There we go. Check one, two, check one, two. Okay, I think I got the audio going now. Is there a check, 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 check? All right. All right, I'm going to try to see if, let's see if I add Zoom, if I can add some people who may want to come on. I haven't tried this yet. The virtual, there's a place to do like a virtual webcam in Streamlabs, but for some reason mine wasn't working. It says that the Streamlabs is optimized for the M1, M2 chips, but I have the last Intel chip in my MacBook Pro, so I'm not sure if that's the issue. I was doing a little bit of troubleshooting. It says you can go back and uninstall Streamlab and like get an older install file, blah blah blah. But I don't know if I want to do all that. And in reality, I think the only thing that really does is that would take the stream that you see here and it would add it over to the Zoom call, which technically isn't what I want. Really, what I want is the Zoom call over here. The other thing is I finally got batteries for my remote here. And so this lighting kit came with two lights. Right now I'm only using one light to the right side. I may have to do the left. I also have an overhead light directly above me. So I'm not sure if that adds any highlight on my shoulders and head. The cool thing is I can change the mode. I'm going to see what it looks like. So that's kind of a bluer, cooler tone. But I think on the screen, especially when I watch it on Omni or on X, it makes me look washed out. It's a little bit brighter. So let me dim. So maybe that's what it is. Maybe I've got it too bright. Oh, there it is. So I see where X is running just a few, probably about a minute behind, which I'm assuming on not OBS on Streamlabs I can adjust that. So I'm just now seeing on the X version. See, I'm gonna have to play with the lighting a little bit, and I may add this lighting to the left side. The thing I noticed is the green screen. You see a little bit of noise if I turn the brightness down. But if I have the brightness up, I feel like I look super washed out and completely white, like Fester. So all right, let me see if I can open the chat up here. All right, check, check, one, two, check, check, one, two, check, one, two. So Check 1 2. Check check check. Check check check. All right, let's see what happens when I open Zoom. Yeah, let's see, let's see, let's see. So yeah, guys, while I'm setting Zoom up, just let you know I did the payouts for Fight Farm today. And I haven't done the DGNFT payouts or mints yet. Okay, thanks, Chris. It looks like you're giving me the I sound good sign. So hopefully that's good. Let's see. All right, guys. So I just shared the invite link. Man, so here's the thing. I noticed that when I open Zoom and it clips my green screen back. And I guess it's from probably the camera setting. I'm gonna go to video settings over here. Okay. So I just put the Zoom invite. So if any of you guys want to come on, especially you, Chris. Chris, you've hosted these live streams and calls before. Remember, I'm a total noob here. So Chris, you're more than welcome to come on and school me. But yeah, I put the link there in the X chat. And let me check over on the YouTube. I don't have the YouTube chat going. I mean, the YouTube chat's going, but I don't see uh, what it is. But yeah, I'm curious how I can get the video to stop clipping. Because it seems like, there we go. And I think I fixed it now. So it's like when I open up Zoom, you'll see like the two black bars on the stream beside me right now. It's like those aren't there until I open up Zoom. And even if I have like the webcam disabled, it seems like it pulls it. Now on there we go. So I think it's fixed now. So I see on X the playback is hit, and I just changed it to the original ratio on Zoom, and then I changed the setting, then changed it back on Streamlab. So, but yeah, just testing out the background. I took the Karate Combat graphic you see on the background, took the OmniFlix TV, overlaid it, threw up uh, Scott and Bella's KPOD network, and of course Fight Farm in the Pit. Um, I'm excited, man. We did the thing where RJ from OmniFlix just did a stream with Scott on the podcast, and I believe we had like the first dry run of doing the NFT issues to the people who were watching the stream and NFT issues to people who tipped on the stream. And I think it was 100 NFT max on watching the stream, and all 100 went out. And for tipping, I believe it was like 40 something. So that means more, more or less, we got almost to uh, half of. Now, technically, that's not true, because if we had unlimited set on the number of people watching the stream, probably would have been over 100, I'm guessing, if we issued 100 NFTs. Now, that's also, I don't know how easy that is to manipulate. If you log into the stream with one address to OmniFlix TV, and then you disconnect and you go like on Leap Wallet and you log in with a second address, Leap Wallet, log in with a third address. It makes me feel like you could manipulate the number of people who are watching the stream. On OmniFlix and getting the payout. Yeah, guys, please be sure on Twitter to like and share. Help me out here. One thing I will say is my engagement and a lot of things are probably going to start to go up big time, which is good because I need to get engagement and growth on X in order to grow the Fight Farm community and start to reach out more towards MMA Twitter. I'm curious, like I'm not sure if I'm hearing myself. Oh, that's why I gotta mute the I gotta mute the browser so it's not giving me the feedback. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Some people need to get on Zoom. So yeah, like I was saying, starting to kind of figure this out. Still learning, not a streamer. And the good thing is Scott and Bella, will be there to help, and it'll be fun. This is what I should have been doing last year, but just uploading videos. Like the thing I like about doing the live stream, especially like with Streamlabs, and you connect your YouTube and um, your X account to it. I can just hit go live, and then it's automatically going to upload that here and there. And because I'm not one of those people like I have to have like the intro, I could still do the intro song and everything if I wanted to do like separate videos. But I like that I can just go live and I'm live and doing my thing, and then at the same time it's uploading it automatically to YouTube and X for me, because it's just a time consumption thing, right? And So that part's cool. But yeah, learning how to do this, and it's something I felt like I should have started doing last year, and I was kind of lazy about it. When they first got OmniFlix TV, I knew that was a direction that we would have to go in order to grow Fight Farm outside of the norm that we see in Cosmos to reach the greater Web3 and ultimately uh, to reach people that are not necessarily in crypto that you think might enjoy the MMA aspect of it or the card collecting strategy game aspect of it. It feels like you just have to go um, outside of that realm if you want to pick up anybody. So uh, I am going to share my screen. Let's see if I can figure that part out. It's going to be Chrome. There we go. So I think I just got Chrome there. Perfect. Let me put this in the top corner here. I guess, oh, I guess really what I should do is I should take the display capture here and just make it full screen, maybe. And then I can resize it. Display capture. And I guess then if I went here and did hide the video capture, I could hide the image. And what else is that? Huh. All right. So for now, so looking here, we had for the Mac, we had a total of 38 staked NFTs. Um, the total payout was $55.38 worth of IST stablecoins. That brings us to $1.46 per NFT staked. And for Marab machine gun, we had a total of $37 divided by 29 staked NFTs, and that's about $1.27 per payout. So not bad. Uh, Not bad for a main event, co-main event. I think a lot of focus in 2025 should be to diversify the we'll have to diversify the portfolio and figure out how to make payouts better so you can attract. I mean, obviously, if you attract more people and you're staking more to the treasury, it's going to earn you more yield. But part of that is you could go DeFi, you could flip. There's a lot of things you could do, and honestly, some of that may just be that it's a time consumption thing where I can only do so much when it's like just me. But as the community grows, I would say that it's very possible to put together a team of people that would manage that, at least part of that treasury, right? So that was the payouts, and not bad. I got those payouts sent today. And let's check this a little bit wider. And then we'll show activity. Did I lose my cut here? I think on the display capture, I need to just change it off of Chrome and show. So maybe I should just do it like that, where it shows the entire. And that way, if I want to, okay, that might look a little bit better, but maybe not. I don't know. No, it doesn't. Okay. Oh, you can like manually set the croppings of the screen size. But it would just make sense then that if you did Google Chrome. Okay, so I got it there, but I think the problem is like the set. Let me fix this display capture. All right, now let me check X. And I bet that fixed it. Let's see if that fixed it. So I took it and I had to resize it and see that it's caught up on X, and it looks like I'm going to get back to OmniFlix really quick. And you can see that I got the Mac. And one of the things that I do miss about the previous version of the marketplace was the same way you saw me click into this. Used to, like you do it now and it'll highlight which one you and went into it. And while it does show you a history, there's certain pieces of data that the old one would show that the new one doesn't show. One of the biggest things I noticed is when you're looking at like to figure out which NFTs are staked, I know the staking address to the OmniFlix DAO, so I know which ones are staked just by looking at the main address that holds the NFT. But what I really wish they would do with Marketplace is like have some sort of icon here that would show me the which one was staked just by looking at it. The same way I can see whether this is an IST listing or a Spice coin listing or a Flix coin listing. You know, the icon shows you right there. It would be nice if I could see which ones were staked to DAO. But the biggest thing is like when you go and you click in, like let's click in to this one. This very top address right here, I know this is the collection address where I hold the NFTs, right? Which one? So when I see this and it says the bird 35 is owned by this address, it's not really owned by that address. You staked it to that address. But if I go back down here, I can see like the original transfer or the original buy is going to show me from whether that was a transfer because I transferred it to someone this previous address and I know who to pay out as the winner. But you know, that's one of those things where it's like that's not an OmniFlix issue, that's a Fight Farm issue. And it's not a bad thing. It's just sometimes this address, but here's the actual looks and feels. If you click into any of their actual collections, the days does very well. You can see the activity pane over here to the right, which is kind of like what OmniFlix is doing. And OmniFlix's looks a lot more broken down by transaction, but that's fine. I think that they'll eventually maybe update that. You got to remember, like you can see where actually there was like a single, it would actually show you the NFT name. So that's another thing now. When I see this feed to the right and I see it says buy or IST right here, I can see that someone bought it 12 days ago for IST, but I don't know which NFT that is, right? So it's kind of a pain because, and normally you wouldn't care. You're like, okay, like I know someone bought an NFT. I know I got to go take a certain percentage of that to the treasury for to earn rewards. But like, there's a lot of little things, and I do like the way this looks and feels. And I think this is just the first um, edition of the updated marketplace for OmniFlix, and I'm very happy with it. There's certain things that I think could be better, but I think it's a good starting point, and I think it's miles ahead of what the previous version was, which I think is a lot of what kept creators and collectors off of OmniFlix. I heard plenty of people say, well, the UI UX isn't really that great, blah, 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 and too many AI collections that weren't really like actual collections. So, you know, I think this year in 2025, that's going to be the biggest part of it, is going to be a big part of it. And I think a lot of that will have to do with both OmniFlix TV and the streaming in conjunction with the new look and feel of the marketplace as they update and add more features. And Sisla and them have confirmed, you know, that this is a starting point. This was just to get us to the new version, and they have tons of things planned. So I'm excited to see what they roll out. And when you compare it to Stargaze, you know, kind of a similar look and feel, right? When you look at what you have over there, kind of a similar look and feel now. So people who still say, "Oh, well, Stargaze has better UI UX," I'm like, dude, they're almost identical. And there's so much more uh, differences on the different things you can do between Stargaze and OmniFlix. Because when you come over here and you go to the marketplace, right, the first thing you see is their featured collections, and those will probably improve over time. Of course, get flicks. That's one thing that they added that you couldn't do on the other one, and that'll launch it so you can actually swap. So if you come on and you don't have something, it's easy for you to get right into the flicks token, or maybe uh, the different tokens that are going to be on there. So let's go ahead and get rid of that. Campaigns. Now, this is one of the biggest cool things. I like how they feature campaigns right in the center. And guys, you can see right here, we are 64% claimed. When we did uh, Scott did the D podcast. Scott did the D podcast live stream with RJ and the Flix team and collections. You can see right here, you have the stream tipper badge collection and you have the proof of podcast collection. So just for watching the live stream, you'll earn this proof of podcast. And then if you actually tipped on that stream, you earn this tipper badge. Now, what we did was is they limited for this live stream the number of NFTs that could be minted just from watching the stream to 100. And then I built a campaign that allowed you to burn that. Now you can see it says Karate Combat Fighter, and then if you scroll over, it says Hunter or the Crown. So I probably should have put like maybe instead of putting Karate Combat, I could have put KC52 and Hunter at the very beginning. It would have made it easier. But you can see right now, wildly, Hunter, which is pegged to skivers. And for those that don't know what I'm talking about, let me just pop over here to karate.com. And you can see that KC52 is going to feature Ren versus Screevers. And for my purposes, as far as their logo, back end, because they do have some NFT collections already over on Hedera Hashgraph with the Hashinals. And they have like NFTs that you can upgrade and update. So when you buy an NFT from a fighter, it's based on payouts. And of course, they're doing it on Hedera and we're over in Cosmos. So one of the things that Scott and I was talking about was, we think Fight Farm is a great idea, but it's going to be an extremely long time before we are able to get licensing to become like an official UFC product. Like you would have to raise money, get the actual app, we work out all the kinks before you go to UFC. And even then, UFC, you have to negotiate the licensing based on projected and expected income and a lot of other factors, right? Well, Karate Combat, one of the things that I learned early on by talking to Kyle, you can follow him on X. Let me switch back over real quick. So if you are wanting to learn about Hedera, about Karate Combat, about their karate token, and even like the awesome H bar, which is the token for Hedera Hashgraph, and the karate token. He's one of the people that's in the karate cartel that's behind the awesome meme coin. You can actually see President Awesome right here. So when you think Dana White over in UFC, they have their own guy. He's actually a coach and has his own gym fighters. Uh, and he's just he's like a likable dude, man. And but Postmaster was one of those people that early on, when I was looking at Hedera, I was like, dude, Karate Combat's so cool. I'm starting to watch the product. I want to learn more about Hcraft. And it was such a different type of, and we won't call it a block. You know, you can debate all day long on blockchains versus hash graphs and all this stuff. Regardless of what you think about the difference between the two, you have to admit that Karate Combat and Hedera are doing something that is, it's going to blossom. It's going to grow. It's already hit extreme growth, and they've got a ton of things lined up. So Kyle was one of those people that, you know, they had their own NFT product, and here I am, a guy from Cosmos. I don't know that much about Hedera or HBAR or the wallet, and I'm coming farm could get in on early. And yeah, we're not on Hedera, but that doesn't mean we can't introduce Karate Combat, because ultimately, if you want Karate Combat to be successful, as ingrained and supported and pushing as they are of Hedera and Hashgraph and HBAR and the tokens, and there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, push your apps, do all that stuff. Hedera is going to be like probably their number one partner and their number one whatever. But that doesn't mean that everyone else should just be like, we're in Cosmos and we're just going to ignore it. Even combat and meme coins and all this other stuff, I was like, well, let's do what we can to push Karate Combat over to the Cosmos, and what um, you push their product for this kind of thing as viewers, and with them, it's like, yeah, they're not big enough to do what UFC Karate Combat. It's going to force even the big dogs like UFC or One or other ones, if they want to stay competitive, they're going to have to change that old model of like pay per view and doing things like that. You can't really get away with you can't really get away with doing that. Karate Combat is so as Karate Combat is doing certain things. You know, they're pushing for content creators to be active via uh, IFC, which is the Influencer Fight League. And not only was Kyle like one of those people that early on did he help answer some questions about the wallets, the blockchain, their NFTs. He's one of those people that he actually got in the pit, so he has a martial arts background as well. And you know, he's an in-demand person. I'm not trying to say that him and I are necessarily buddies or friends. He's been friendly, and he's always open to coming on and chatting and helping people. And dude, that's one thing I'll say about Hedera Hashgraph as a whole is if you go to their spaces, you're going to find not just Kyle, but you're going to find a ton of people like Kyle. Now, the same way Cosmos has our own like ecosystem ingrained drama, I'm sure Hedera probably has their own crap as well. I think every ecosystem has the positives and the negatives. And when people and humans are around each other, it's not always going to be 100% perfect. But what I'm trying to say is like, generally speaking, everyone over there is cool, nice, and helpful. I haven't ran into someone, and you have to think, I'm a guy that's coming in saying, hey, I want to build some NFTs around Fight Farm. No, he was like, yeah, dude, I'll do it. So when he did his fight, I made some NFTs for him and Heck, and they had an IFC fight. So he's actually been in the pit. But anyways, definitely just a cool dude. I would love to see, and comes to live streaming the OmniFlix TV, especially like if he's the first one utilizing it, and you have different influencers over on these different ecosystems, especially. Well, you would are doing it because they're gonna all do it different. Web3 products, like actual products, not the token. If you want actual products to be used, you don't put up this big wall and say, oh, Scott and I are already over here doing a Karate Combat live stream. We don't need you. We don't want you. No, it could be one of the places you want to as well offered over here that doesn't quite get offered over there, right? Or there could be trade-offs on centralization versus decentralization and different things that check out there. I believe it's paired with. That's an easy place to get HBAR. Set up your wallet. I would suggest starting with the uh, signs in. You can set up a wallet. Make sure for Karate Combat you use this ECSDA version. You can use a ledger. As you can see, I have my ledger wallet as well for my long-term savings, my big bags. And then I got a regular wallet. And for the app, you had to use the ECSDA. If I'm got If the fights are on Fridays or Saturdays or whatever, I think by Wednesday usually you can take and put that 100,000 karate tokens I have on different, people who I think will win. And then over time, it will accumulate karate tokens if you get. Of course, you can learn from them is lending and domains, socials, utilities. Just a really good setup of like popular dApps over in Hedera. Of course, you can stake either the pack token or H bar right here in the wallet. When you go and you hit receive, one thing that we're not used to here is you see this WECMF for the address. You can copy that, but if you hit, I'll just copy this one. You don't have to have this dash WECMF. And there is an EVM address if you're wanting to use like the regular 0x like you would see for EVM chains. Uh, so that's kind of a basic overview. And I'm no Hedera Hashgraph expert by any means, but I have learned quite a bit just kind of messing around with it to get some karate tokens. And of course, you saw the awesome token, right, for President Awesome right here. And I'm going to go ahead and just kind of put this to the background. And we're going to go to awesome. And it's awesome underscore HST. And that is their meme coin for President Awesome. They also have a Telegram set up. And, as far as meme coins go, we know how that goes. Of course, for things like Hedera and Cosmos, like yeah, there's memes, but it's not as heavy as something like say Solana. So there's less crap to sift through. You can kind of find things that you think will do well. For this one in particular, the reason I think the awesome meme cash, like awesome is that meme coin, the first meme coin on karate. You have to think from a product perspective with karate combat being so integrated with crypto that while meme coins for a lot of stuff just aren't going to last, I think meme coins built on top of a specific product like fighting actually have a chance to do big numbers. So, you know, I'm not trying to tell you that you should go buy it. I'm telling you this is why I purchased it. Because in three, I think memes that are built on just garbage, right? Uh, as long as President Awesome is in karate combat and having moments, and he's in MMA and having moments, and he's on the UFC TV screens as a coach and in the cage doing stuff, I just don't think that you're going to moments that are going to help. Shazab is in, he's 6-3. But these two guys are fighting. For me, I did not want to necessarily. The campaigns will actually be the crown is pegged to Rend, and I have what's his name? Uh, this one here. There we go. The hunter is pegged to Screevers. So right now, I believe. Let's go to the curated tab. I believe it's 20. We're picking the underdog. And actually, I take that back. Right now, it is set to Hunter is 32 NFTs out of 50, 64% claimed, and the crown is pegged to Rend and 56% verify ownership. The reason I didn't do that is because I said to verify, then you could come in and claim both sides of the bet. Listen, you can, as you listen and earn these, give you some sort of like gated content or payout. There's a ton of things he could do by issue, but think about the people that Scott has on as guests, like me. I can say, hey, if you listen to Scott, come, verify that you own those NFTs, that you proof that you listen to them or burn them. So there's like got some supply stuff too when you burn it. But that might have been the first one I thought. But I guess technically, if people listened with more than one address, maybe you could game the system. I'm going to ask Sisla and RJ. I'm not sure if associated addresses are something that they can kind of like minimize that, but that's one reason why you would try to limit as well, right? So we had these limited to 100, and you can see that they've already burnt 28, and then the other one was like 32, I believe. The status is active. The campaign will end in 2 days and 19 hours. So I kept this campaign going live time. Campaigns, you'll see both of those campaigns, and this is what a campaign looks like, right? That's one cool thing about OmniFlix, man. You can do a lot with NFTs over here. This is not your normal NFT product. This is a NFT platform that is built around being a hub, and that hub is going to be um, for video and live streaming and building your brand and even advertising. So one of the cool things that OmniFlix TV is building is they're building the ability to add advertising, right? And paywalls and gated content. There's a lot of stuff that they're going to build. And if you're a streamer, you have to be taking a look at OmniFlix TV right now. And if you're not, then I'm telling you, you're missing out. You're going to be late. Be early, right? Come over here when no one's over here. Scott is over here while no one is over here. And he's building his product because uh, he knows of the potential over here to um, be early to have a streamer who. One of the things about Karate Combat, for those who don't know, is this goes back to what I was talking about earlier. Like, we can't afford to be a licensed product for UFC right now, but that's one reason why we peg our NFTs. Like, we don't use actual fighters' names, we don't use their nickname. Muddy, and it's a very art style where if you look at it, you might be able to tell who the fighter is, but maybe not. And it's definitely not consistent from card to card. You can see even on the belt, you don't see like UFC there. You can tell that's a belt, but you can't tell what it is. You have tons of different fighters wearing furry caps, so who knows which one it could be. It could just be in a. Reasons I have to that for now is because, you know, and when you scroll over and look at our collection, we're like the prettiest collection, but we're also not like the ugliest collection. We have a very distinct style that makes us stand out. And as I scroll through it, especially when we work with other artists and we have these really cool backgrounds and we have some really cool, different than almost anywhere you see it. And you can see right here, not listed, we have about 1840, and collect now we have 189. So like our total NFTs is 2029. We have 112 unique owners, and we've done about almost 20K in Flix volume. A little bit of Axel USCC, which I don't like Axelar, so we didn't use them. We recently started listing in Spice. Back when Lab listed, we were trying to see maybe doing stuff with Lab, and see. But until then, the cool thing about Karate Combat is as you work with them, I believe the way they put it was a very fair combat logos, the actual fighters' names. I could probably, if I wanted to, use their actual photos in the NFTs, which I don't think I would do because people kind of know me for the art style that we have, and I think it looks cool, right? So for now, I used the crown. I used whatever. I didn't want to just like jack and use anything. Although I sent LARPing a message today and asked him, "Hey man, can I get some more details on what we need to do?" And of course, we didn't sell these. These were giveaway NFTs as well, so there was no money made like on my end. But one of the cool things about OmniFlix actually put in there on both on a collection level. I can decide individual NFT level, I can actually put like specific addresses to split the payments with. So if I want to have a certain amount go to the treasury, I can have the treasury address there, right? If I want to have a certain amount go to a community fund, I can do that. If I want individual fighter's wallet, I can also do that. And that's one of the things I was telling LARPing in my message today, and I don't think he's answered yet because it's a fight week, and I'm sure he's extremely busy. Um, but he is very responsive, and he's been very polite, and he definitely said we could work out a deal. And I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that the next set of NFTs we do has that official logo, if at all possible. And what I would like to do is start reaching out to the fighters. And I think The pro fighters, this might be difficult. There's probably one or two fighters that they've. You want to get the ones who really want to learn. But one of the cool things is like the direct payouts. So too busy. I don't care about crypto. Like I'm just a fighter. But maybe Ren comes over and says, "Hey man, like yeah, I'm interested. Like you're telling me every NFT that Fight Farm sells, I can get a cut. Well, how much are the NFTs? Well, they're $5 on regulars. They can be anywhere from 20 to $100. Payouts directly to your wallet. All we got to do is set you up an OmniFlix address. You can see every time we list the NFT, your address is listed. Check their wallet price that you're listed in, right? And that's what I like about it because you can do direct payouts. But say you had fighters that were interested in doing that, and I'm not sure how much the pros will jump on it at first, but you know the influencer fight club, these crypto influencers, those people who are getting in and fighting, they absolutely will probably do it. And they probably don't care what blockchain it is, right? They just want to get paid, especially if they're putting money into training and fight camps and injuries and recovery. There's a lot that goes into being even an amateur fighter as far as costs. So for them, like they might be an Avalanche maxi or an ETH maxi, and they may not care about Cosmos at all. But if you tell them, hey, dude, like every time you fight in IFC, you can sell NFTs, and people are basically uh, doing fight predictions on if you're going to win or not, right? And you can get a cut of that, and it's a collectible. So if you become wildly popular, or if you're like Postmaster and you get a fight or two, then you go pro for Karate Combat Nationals, and those guys are doing. I was looking at this, so when I was talking to Heck and Postmaster, right? The idea was like, okay, which in retrospect, I was having trouble with the AI, so their NFTs came out really ugly. I think if you look at like the most recent NFTs I just did, they look kind of pretty, but I was not proud of these two. Fighter official, you just have it because Karate Combat gives us the license to use their fighters and their fighters' names, etc. Um, if they're not interested in doing anything with Fight Farm and getting a direct pay thing because they don't care about crypto, that's fine. Uh, Maybe a regular NFT costs $5, but maybe the fighter official versions cost $2. But you know that out of that seven official, that extra $2 went directly to the fighter. So if that fighter sold 100 NFTs going into that fight, they just made an additional $200 of basically straight stable coins or cash or whatever, Flix tokens directly to them. No middleman. It's in the contract. Every time they can add multiple addresses on the royalties. Now, the royalties can't be specific to their NFTs. The royalties are for the Fight Farm in the Pit collection. So, what does that do? Not only does a fighter earn directly from their NFT sales, they can earn from the royalties of the entire collection, and it's a shared thing, right? So if you're early and you're like Heck and Postmaster or any other fighter that we sign early on, and the royalties start the secondary volume starts to pick up, you really have like less people in that pot than your royalties payouts could end up. People's addresses are in that pot splitting royalties that could minimize the royalties payout down the road. It's always going to be uh, very dependent. And I hate the way these turned out. Guys who you got their images off these look the best. Screevers turned the fighter official on there. But imagine if Screevers or Ren said, yeah, dude, you're going to sell my NFTs, and every new fight I do, you're going to do a new NFT for me, and that's going to be capped and limited based on the amount of sales going to that fight. But I'm earning like say X amount of dollars per NFT. And maybe for a regular fighter, like low level fighter, you don't have the demand, so you have to price them at $5 for people who aren't fighter official. And you can price them say at 6 or 7 if that fighter is newer and they don't have a big following. At least it gives them some sort of payout. But as the brand grows and you have champions and stuff, like absolutely, they'll be like, Chris, come on, bro. When we started, you were giving me $2 per NFT, but I'm the champion now. Like I deserve $10 per NFT. Or ability to grow with Karate Combat. Everything those guys are doing, like Stickbug and their Hashnails NFTs, Awesome, Meme Coin, anything that's built around karate combat, if karate combat is successful and OmniFlix TV are successful, that's good for karate combat. And the same is vice versa. If karate combat is successful and they are growing, that's good for OmniFlix TV. Like you want mutually beneficial relationships that helps everyone grow. And that's one thing that I've always said is I've always looked at OmniFlix as like they say it's like the media hub. I've always looked at it like, no, dude, it's the collaboration hub. It's where all the projects come and they do their own thing, but it's like it's the point of like where everyone begins to collaborate because that's truly what social media in business is all about is how you can grow, and a lot of that has to do with how you intertwine and work with others. I'm gonna go back and check. I don't know if I've had any. Don't know if I had any things over here. Had nuclear chicken. Looking forward to seeing these minted NFTs. So nuclear. Let me give you this real quick, buddy. So if you come over here and we're on campaigns, we're just going to go here to explore. You can see curated in collections or all collections. Fight Farm is a curated collection. So we're going to click here on curated collections. And of course, I can go to the search bar if I have that official, and you'll come over here and do that. And then we didn't sell these, so the collect now tab is not going to show them. But if you go to not listed, but boom shakalaka, here are the minted NFTs, numbered. And all of these were minted from an NFT being burned. No one paid a dime. They watched a live stream. The Crown Postmaster, and for heck, I just there's AIs, and you can do a lot of different things to make it different. And in most cases, most people don't like it. But I learned that if you have images that are real and you use ink punk diffusion on them and you set it to certain settings, you can get like this cell shaded graphics that I really use. Uh, and towards the end, they were trying to, they didn't care about the web browser version. They only cared about their app version, which I wasn't using the app. I was using the browser. Some things about with their shirts off for UFC because their whole thing was like no nudity. We can't have nudity because we're in the app store. And I'm like, dude. But they changed some things on the seeds, right? Because when you're looking at AI and you go down, you can see that when you run something, it'll give you a seed. And if you want to have images that look similar in collection, you see these are a little bit like it's that cell shaded look, and there's a little bit of noise and a little bit of muddiness. And Kyle and Heck looked at, but I mean, it was doing things I couldn't control. Like I could not parameters I changed. Everything looked like he had a big hammer fist. Like he was, what's that dude, the bad guy, the man made of stone? I forget it. And for Heck, it was the same way. Like I don't think this looks like Heck at all. And I had some just like it had some like in his face, but then the AI messed up and would like mess up an eye here or mess up the nose there. I'm like, dude, come on. Like there's a lot of things you can do to get the AI to give you the result you want. And you learn that along the way as you learn how to do this. For these two, dude, I could not get to do what I wanted. I put out a product. I thought, let me look at these. Do you think the one for Postmaster and Heck here look as good as this one right here? Dude, these ones for Hondra look great. Now, I didn't like this one, but if you look at it, all minted on the old image it has a ton of options on different things you can do with like AI images. But the reason I got it was for ink punk. Then what I figured out was is like with all these different like art styles, I've actually been able to do a lot of things in AI that I wasn't able to do pre credits, like exploratory stuff on the app to see what all I could do. And I overused it that month. But since then, now the other thing is that you start over at 12,000. So I really enjoy this app. So it's getimg.ai, and you can do just regular like text to image, or you can throw in photo, percent range. And it's not always perfect, but it's been fun to kind of learn it. And I'll say this. Yeah, but let's see, nuclear. Here is. where you can see your minted NFTs, broski. You just go to the not listed tab of the collection and you'll see they're already minted, man. When you burnt it, it minted. So currently 14 views. Here it says 18 views. So one of the things I got to do next, guys, is I have to do the payouts for the Yuri versus Jamal Hill fight. And I'm probably going to do that either later tonight or probably it'll get done this week. That I can assure you. Now, those specifically are special because when we look at the payouts for that, I have to do the actual I think that was USDC. No, Karate Combat USDC. So for this was an IST, right? And we had not a lot of action. We had some action, right? So as far back as December, we had some people put in for Yuri, Jamal Hill, Yuri, Jamal Hill. So all these people here that bought will get NFTs. And the NFTs are actually all different. They're all the same layout, but they have different backgrounds. So what do I mean by that? If I come over here and I scroll, difficult to read the fight farmer. Now this one's going to be a similar. Of the NFT will look like. Of course, there'll be like .mp4 files. That was the idea. Different players that played on the DGNFT $3 IST predictions. Those guys will get the payout. Who's pegged to the ability to earn his future fights on Fight Farm by staking the NFT. But Yuri actually won, so Yuri would be Jamal Hill and Dreammaker, but Bombiska here is pegged to Yuri. And people will get his NFT to clarify because they were really like, hey man, like I'm a collector, a long-term collector, and I don't want to have to go deal with DAO all this stuff. And I get it, but what I tried to tell them was like, look, this was just a test. Like long term, you're not going to have to do that. Long term, officially, what's going to happen is we're going to have these different NFTs. They're going to be listed and you're going to purchase them over here on the OmniFlix marketplace the same way you normally would on the Collect Now tab. You would come over here and buy it. The difference is usually based on DeFi and stake of NFTs that are the DGNFT versions. And when you buy those NFTs, they're not with, and like say you buy a $3 NFT over here, that entire $3 minus a fee to us, of course, for profit, will come over here and not necessarily here to DAO. DAO is where we're testing it now. But it would go to a prediction market, and then it's either predicting for fighter A or fighter B. And depending on who wins the fight, at the end, we take that money and we bring it back. And the payout percentage per NFT could vary wildly because if it's just some fight farm people and the collection's small and it's all of our money from the NFT sales going to that prediction market, yeah, you make something depending on how both sides of the NFT sold, right? But imagine you're on like a big prediction market and there's a ton of people putting money down to predict on that fight, and your NFT fighter wins. When we send that money back, like the payouts could be much larger than what we normally would pay out of our rewards pool, because you're siphoning some liquidity and some rewards from players who don't care or even use Fight Farm. We're effectively farming uh, prediction networks. I'm sorry, uh, prediction markets. But it's a two-way farm. Like, we're farming the rewards for the winning fighter to bring those rewards back to our players so that they get their profit. And of course, we can take a cut of that profit, right? So if the profit's really big and we take 10 or 20% to the fight farm community, that's potentially going to pay them more than what our treasury would. Maybe. I mean, our community is getting big and customers. And it's one thing to say, hey, this fight has 80 players total, 40 and 40 for each fighter on Fight Farm. We want all those people to come over here and play in our prediction market. You're not going to get all 40 for each fighter to come over there. No matter how much money they can make, it's a time consumption thing, it's a perception thing, it's where they live, it's the rules. There's so many things that go into whether or not people use betting platforms or prediction markets, but they'll collect NFTs. Effectively, what we do is we take our NFT sales and we farm that liquidity over to the prediction market. So it's a win-win for both. It's a win-win. Shoot, for both sides. So that's kind of the idea. So for people who are worried about DGNFT, don't worry. We're not always going to be in doubt. The idea here was to test, like, if you had predictions for a fight and you rewarded that with NFTs. But effectively, what we'll do is it's the opposite. You don't reward the people in the market with NFTs. You sell the NFTs just like we normally would in Fight Farm, and then you take that and you utilize how it earns money differently than just the regular rewards pool. It's just another way, another option to play Fight Farm. So in the future, when they see like the DG NFT version of a fighter, they know that specific NFT they're buying is not getting rewarded from the rewards pool. It's being partnered, and in the background, it's going over to a prediction market or an options market, and that's how it's paying out the revenue if your fighter wins. That's kind of the idea behind it. I was trying to find a way where, like, how can Fight Farm be mutually beneficial with predictions markets? And I think that's one way to do it, right? And at first, I was thinking, oh, well, I go over there, and anyone who's making predictions on this fight, I can reward them. But then you get into, you have to track all their addresses, you have to extract all that data, then you have to mint all the NFTs and send it over there. What if the prediction market's not on OmniFlix? It doesn't make sense to do it that way, the way we've been testing it with DAO. And if you think about moving to a predictions market, it just doesn't make sense to do it that way. I think the way it makes sense to do it is you sell NFTs just like you normally would, and those NFTs earn revenue in a different way. And the player, from a Fight Farm perspective, doesn't know the difference and may not care about the difference. And ultimately, Fight Farm is probably going to have, hopefully, double digit revenue models. Like, you can't have all your eggs in one basket. It can't just be staking rewards, especially for proof of stake tokens that fluctuate in value and they could have network issues. Look at what happens, man. Like, imagine even if you were on Solana and the chain froze the day you're supposed to do payouts, right? And it stayed froze for 2 days. And then the price dumped because everyone starts dumping as soon as they can move their Solana tokens. That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. Is like, there's no such thing as a risk-free, like, treasury in crypto. So the only way you can beat that is you have to diversify, and you need multiple revenue streams. You need multiple chains, multiple tokens. It can't all just be proof of stake coins. Um, you need to invest in things like Bitcoin, and grow an actual treasury, and keep USDC, and stake USDC to earn 17% or 5% or 2%. You need a wide variety of things, including proof of stake tokens that are earning a high amount of inflation that you can utilize to reward players. But I think moving into the betting markets, betting that term in gambling would be risky, but we do have predictions markets and options markets. You could do that in the background, and you're kind of walking that gray area that Fight Farm has always effectively been in, anyways. Because the only way we get out of a gray area and actually grow into something where UFC would want to use us, um, by their standards and probably their legal liability, would be, we have to raise money. We have to have an app and we have to do certain things. And that's not to say that you can't use, legally speaking, a predictions market or a betting market like traditional Web2 betting apps. Not to say you can't use that even, but from a legal perspective, Fight Farm would have to do like the same thing those apps do. They'd have to do KYC, AML, and all this other stuff. And I think the way around that in the past was you had fantasy sports, you've had predictions markets, and those things are always ahead of the curve, but they're always getting caught up on by regulators. And it's one of those things where this is the market that we have to deal with. And we're trying to build something fun and cool for players. We're trying to build something that businesses like the UFC would be interested in and want to partner with and want to buy. And I think while that's an ultimate go for us on Fight Farm main event, I think for now, doing Fight Farm in the pit and partnering and seeing what we can do with Karate Combat, I just saw today that they partnered with Cloudbet, and that's a betting platform. And I don't know how that's going to work. Like I'm assuming, like most betting platforms, when it comes to crypto, um, either they comply and they do KYC AML, or they don't and they're offshore and everyone's using a VPN to get around it. That's typically the two things that's happening. Um, and players and consumers can choose their flavor. If they're so worried about getting in trouble, they want to comply, then they can go somewhere where they do KYC AML. But in the crypto world, a lot of people are skirting around all these little things, and whether that's legal or not, or illegal, or a gray area, or whatever, I'm just commenting on that people do it. I know people that do it, and you're not going to stop it. So it's like, I don't know. I'm waiting to see like how this plays out long term. Because even Fight Farm, people ask me all the time about the whole thing, whether Fight Farm is betting or gambling. I'm like, no, it's not. Not it's not. I mean, we are doing a shared protocol owned uh, treasury, and that treasury earns revenue through staking and DeFi, and then you're paid out of that revenue, and it's based on a random event, so it can't technically be a security either, because I can't guarantee that you're going to stake your NFT so that you're eligible to earn, and I can't guarantee that even if you do stake the NFT, that the fighters that you are pegged to are going to win in the UFC. You could be so unlucky that every NFT you've ever purchased never has a fighter that wins, and you never earned a dime, and I'll tell you that up front. But I'll also tell you that the chances are that you buy 100% of NFTs that never earn is probably impossible as well. So it's like everything else in life. It's 50-50. It's a crapshoot. And we can try to put odds on things, and we can, determine odds. And, I love betting when you see how they handicap fights. Like they just had Talbot as like a plus, or whatever, negative 1400 to a plus 900 over the dude, and like if you bet $10 you won 80, and I was like, these guys are crazy. Like this fight is truly 50-50. Just because this kid's undefeated and he's on a streak doesn't mean that he won't potentially lose. And that's what I did. I was like, I'll put $10 on it to win 80, and sure enough, I was right. He lost the fight, and he didn't look good in it, and he fought a guy who, you have to think, even when a fighter sees the handicap, you know how offensive it is to a fighter when you give them zero chance, virtually no chance of winning. That can light a fire under someone's ass to come in and say, you know what? Just to prove everyone wrong, and just to prove all these assholes who are like, they'd rather put all their money on the young, up and coming, undefeated kid. And while it's understandable, it's like, dude, it's still a fight. Anything can happen. anyone can get clipped, anyone can get caught, anyone can get tapped or subbed. It's truly 50-50 no matter how much you try to stack odds. And now odds exist for a reason. And that's the fun thing about fighting in sports is you get to play that game and try to see who can be right. And there's a financial incentive to do so, right? But anyways, guys, let me check. I'm not even sure how many people or if we have any people in here at all. If we don't, that's fine. I got to learn and do a lot tonight and kind of test out some of the stuff I was doing. You give them zero chance, virtually no chance. I got feedback. There we go. So, yeah, guys, that's something they want to do. I want to talk about the 311 payouts. Like I said, it's like $1.40 something and $1.20 something on those two winning fights for Islam and Marab. Karate Combat, we talked a lot about them tonight, and we talked a lot about OmniFlix, the collection, the UFC collection, and the potential of us growing a In the Pit for Karate Combat collection and trying to do what we can. We'll eventually get this sorted out and try to get uh, this as an official product, which would be cool, and see how we can work with the fighters and um, guys. Just because you like Fight Farm and you're over in Cosmos, go check out Karate Comeback. Go check out their app. Learn about how Hedera Hashgraph works. Don't be a single solo ecosystem. This is Web3, man. You don't have to have all your eggs in one basket, and it's easy for us to stay siloed over our own ecosystem. I love Cosmos, man. I love the whole IBC interchain tokens, interchain NFTs. Now, I know that's going to expand to EVM and Solana and even XRP. Maybe one day it's going to expand to Hedera, right? You get Hedera Hashgraph on IBC, and next thing you know, it opens the doors wide for us to go over there and then them to come over here. Uh, but yeah, don't stay so close minded that you don't go learn about new stuff, man. Because dude, their tech is really cool. Their presentation is top notch. It immediately latched on to me. I'm like, dude, these guys are on fire. Like they're presenting something that looks cool. It feels cool. My one thing that I would say is I, but that's not that big of a deal. I mean, I can keep all my important level of funds on there and then move. You could go play Karate Combat and pick fighters and then take all the profit you win back to your ledger wallet if you wanted to store it securely, right? If you're worried about it. Um, so that was one thing that I would say that I wasn't quite sure about, and I could be wrong. Don't quote me. I mean, I could just be messing something up. Um, the other thing I didn't like was the app version for mobile. It kind of forced you to use facial recognition, which I'm not a fan of. I get why they would do it, and from like a Web 2 perspective, where the players set up their wallets and they want to make it like, hey, these are new people. Um, they're not going to remember their password. We don't want to keep their password. For them, it's just easy to say, "Oh, we're going to force you to use your Face ID," and I'm like, I don't even have Face ID turned on my iPhone, and I'll never turn it on if I can get around it. Which maybe one day I won't be able to get around it, right? So, yeah, man, that was the that was the idea, man. Was to get to where I could use the app, and I end up going through the web page, right? And the web app. And there's nothing wrong with that. I like it. You know, I'll go in there, I'll pick my fights, and I'll use the web app for now because I don't want to use the mobile app. And for you out there that want to, that's your prerogative. Go ahead and do it. You'll enjoy it. From what I can tell, it looked like a really cool thing, and I did take the Hashpack wallet and do the mobile, so that was kind of cool. I do have the mobile wallet, I think, set up on my there because I thought you had to have a Hedera wallet to go in and set up your thing. Let me double check on that. Hash. I'm checking right now just to see. So that's KC Social. Okay, so it was just a Karate Combat app. I guess it's not the actual Hashpack mobile wallet. I also signed up for Phantom. I haven't been. I've always been a laptop user, man. Like I'm in that age range where I like my laptop. I like using my ledger on my laptop. Uh, and you know, I'm learning to become a little bit more chef and that kind of stuff anyway. So, but yeah, man, I think I'm gonna wrap it up for the night. We're looking at just under 2 hours, about an hour and 45 minutes in. If you're still here, thank you for sticking around. Please like, share, comment. Tell me what you want to see. Tell me if I suck at something. Tell me if you see something I can improve upon. Um, like I said, I'm new to going live. Uh, got me a nice little green screen. Just kind of learning how to do all this stuff, man. It's been a fun experience. Trying to figure out how to do the lighting. Uh, the lighting is kind of like I see it, and I see one side of my face seems a little bit more like the shaded side than this. And I know, like, if you have the upper lights or the lights pointed down, it can like uh, highlight the top of your head and your shoulders, kind of like what Scott was talking about. So there's a lot of things that you may see change over time. I'm still learning. But feel free to leave me feedback, send me a DM, follow me, Fight Farm NFT. If you have if you have questions about the collection, hit me up. If you want to come on and chat, one thing I'm going to do is we won't keep this as just Fight Farm. I have some ideas. I've always wanted to do my Spitter project, which is Spitter is an acronym for smartest people in the room. And that won't be a lot about me or the game or whatever. A lot of it's going to be me trying to interview people who are smart people, and that could be crypto related. It could be not crypto related. It could be investment. It could be health. I really want to look out and like that's one thing I've been reading a lot about today is like building a brand when you get to be like older and setting your expectations and like what you should chase. And if if you don't feel like, and yes, I'm pushing a project. I want to grow Fight Farm, but if you don't feel like you're trying to necessarily like be the product or be the brand, a lot of times you can leverage your ability to package about the other people. And if I'm an interesting person, like some of my favorite people, like when you watch Joe Rogan, it's because he's so good at hosting the conversation. Your favorite podcasters and YouTubers, a lot of them, you'll learn a lot about them through the conversation, but they're not pushing themselves as the product, right? They're pushing their ability to have a conversation and get the best conversation out of other people and package that in a very palatable way. And that's something that I want to challenge myself to do, right? I love to talk around the smartest people. And I've always said that when it comes to crypto and finance and economics, like I've been in the game since 2012 and nothing about me makes me the smartest person in the room, but I surround myself with the smartest people in the room. And if it's not physically with, and what I like to do is get around people who are far more successful than me, far more smarter than I am, and figure out what they're doing right because it's easy to say siloed in your own little corner. And I used to struggle with that, man. I was such a hardcore like Bitcoiner. Um, and even early on, even though I got into other cryptos, I was a hardcore person into like, I'm going to like round trip everything. I'm never going to sell Bitcoin. Do you know how much Bitcoin I could have now if I sold at least a portion of it at the top of every cycle? And in my mind back then, I was like, no, they're just trying to trick me out of getting my Bitcoin. Like they want me to buy USDC. The dollar is going to crash. USDC and USDT is going to be worthless. And I still think that's true. Your worldview. And had I been more open minded back then and talked to more people, I probably could have been convinced that it would have been wise to play the market a little bit. Because the only two things that make sense is either you're a hardcore Bitcoin maxi and you never touch anything else and you only hold Bitcoin, and then maybe one day you can sell some of that for profit or leverage it and borrow against it, which is the Bitcoin maxi view. Or you're one of those people where you have to learn how to play the market. And the problem is, I don't mean like leveraging and doing all this stuff that's super risky. But you can use the rule of quarters and the rule of thirds, even if you were just a Bitcoin only holder. If every month you bought Bitcoin, but then every 4 years, you have the halving cycle and there's going to be a bull market, it wouldn't hurt you to sell 25% of your Bitcoin holdings at the top of the market. And then when it crashes and pulls back, you buy back in. You don't have to be a trader. Uh, it's one of those things where there's some risk to it. There's not like there's a risk-free avenue to that thing, because if you sold 25% into dollars and the dollar crash, you'd probably be like, I should have kept my damn bit at the top or your crypto at the top and buy back in low. That's like me now. No matter how much I believe in OmniFlix or any proof of stake token, even in DPN for decentralized physical infrastructure, like you're not going to see me round trip and keep 100% of any token at the end of this market. I'm just not going to do it. I've been here way too long. There's no guarantee any of this crap's going to be around in 4 years, in 2 years. So even things I believe in, like OmniFlix or Akash, I think they're more likely to be around because they have an actual product. I think Fight Farm, there's no guarantee. But you should think that I would be around, because I'm not just a guy that you're like buying the NFT and you're hoping for speculative reasons I'm going to be here next cycle. Because guess what? Then the majority of these NFTs are garbage. They're not going to be here. They're not going to make it through the next bear market. They're just not. Um, and if they do, and they're the speculative ones, like it's such a small percentage of them, right? So my point is like you want to grow, but through the means of actual work and economic productivity, meaning you have to make more money at your job every year, you have to keep getting pay increases, you have to keep your cost of living low enough that you have extra money to keep purchasing more Bitcoin or more crypto. That becomes more and more difficult to do as inflation rises, and we don't know what the job markets are going to do or what unemployment's going to be. So your best bet is learning how to play in the crypto market. And at this point, I think that that means that you have to be wise and not round trip most of your investments. And there's a risk to that because you're selling it into dollars. You could sell it into Bitcoin, but Bitcoin's going to drop as well. But the faith is there that Bitcoin is likely going to come back every 4 years, because it has. The trend is the trend until it's not. You could sell it into other things like golds and metals or stocks, but there's risk in everything. So that's just some of the stuff I've been thinking about, and I want to talk to people. I want to get their perspective on how they play the markets and why. I want to get their perspective on health, on fitness. I teach jujitsu. I do jujitsu. I would love to talk to people about self-defense, fighting, setting yourself up to protect yourself and live through hard times and harsh conditions that we may or may not have in the future. That's so don't expect it to be just fight farm and just fighting. I think as I grow my brand, I would really like to become someone who can do interviews and try to learn from others and leverage my platform to, you know, build business and income off of promoting others and picking their brains and having good conversations. And there's a market for that. You may not become the most popular person like Joe Rogan, but that doesn't mean that just because you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, or whatever, that you can't start and build it as big as you're capable of, because you never know, right? You never know what's going to fall in your lap and go viral. And next thing you know, you wake up and you've doubled, tripled, quadrupled your subscriber base. And then you can leverage that into different income streams. So, anyways, guys, just under 2 hours. Thanks for being here. I'm going to cut this stream off and I will see you next time. Make sure you check in on Scott this week. Follow him over on D Podcasts and check out his OmniFlix live streams this week. Real quick, I am going to share. I'm going to share that really quick. And let's see, where is my video capture? No, that's not what I want. I want my display capture. Okay. So, yeah, guys, I want you to go over to So OmniFlix TV. Of course, you have home, videos, channels. You can connect your wallet in the top right, and you'll see the trending. Got our good buddy Snails over here. Check him out. And you'll see right here live streams, right? Uh, Live stream test one, Luffy. I don't know who that is, but you see right now it's podcast. So in fact, let's see who's live. I don't know who Luffy is. OmniFlix streaming via OmniFlix Media Node. Live stream test one. One watching. So Luffy is somebody. Does Luffy have any more videos? Luffy ain't got no more videos. Just this live stream test. Luffy, I don't know who you are, but I like what you're doing. Okay. All right, guys. So this is OmniFlix TV. Like I said, make sure you come back and you check us have out uh, this week. Look for Scott. He's also on YouTube and X in the mornings. And going into Friday, Scott, myself, will have hopefully a clean feed. I've been talking to LARPing, and he's going to be back with me on Thursday at the latest. Hopefully, sometime on Friday, we'll be able to spin it up and get everything laid out. Remember, guys, this is our first time. It might take us a couple of times, but we're going to get it going. And, as OmniFlix TV grows and adds features and gets their chat going and has advertising and paywalls and all the fun stuff that we're going to get, we'll be there for the ride along the way, helping them push the boundaries and grow and giving them feedback. And hopefully we can all prosper together. We will see you next time. Take it easy and have a good night. Oh, and I forgot to say, I gotta make sure I start using my moniker. So I, my moniker is going to be I'm the core developer of violence because we're doing the podcast, and because I like to talk a bunch of crap, and because I do actually do jujitsu, and I want to fight. I want to get in the pit and karate combat and do an IFC fight. But yeah, I'm gonna start doing that. That's gonna be I think that'll be a cool thing we can do t-shirts for. But the core developer of violence, and been working on some sayings and some different things we can use for karate combat. I think if you go back and you watch, like, especially, like, I love like WWE announcers, they would have like their own catchphrases because ultimately you're there to call the fight and provide a service and put the fighters over and put the organization or brand over. But if you want to be like I love Jim Ross, right? I love like Jerry the King Lawler. I love like the old school announcers. The newer ones I don't know them as much, and I'm sure they're probably great as well. But for me, like those announcers in that era of pro wrestling stood out. Joey Styles back in ECW, right? They had these things about them that made them noticeable and marketable. And I think that's one thing that sports uh, is missing sometimes is the entertainment part of that. And the UFC does a great job of integrating like multiple. I think Karate Combat having Boss Rutan and bringing GSP on, like they're doing some stuff to do personality, but it would be really cool if you had like I think me and Scott, we have the potential on our side when we call our fights to, you know, we might be a little bit more on the entertainment side. Let's just put it that way. Um, because Scott's an entertaining dude, right? I love him and Bella's banter back and forth, and I love when Scott's giving someone like Eric over at Astrovault a hard time, and even me, he'll like basically told me I had no personality one time live on a stream, and I think I was just tired that day, right? And I think people that know me, like I can have personality, I can talk, um, I can be nice, I can be funny, I can be abrasive, um, but I'm not the most naturally probably outgoing person. Like for me, it truly is like I've learned to do that to promote things or to teach things or to do public speaking. But it's probably not my natural state. Like I'm cool with just chilling in the cut and not being the center of attention. Um, but you can't really promote products and build businesses unless you're willing to put yourself out there. And truly, if you want people to care, you have to be entertaining. So you don't have to be like that 24/7, but you at least have to be able to turn it on and off. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to learn how to like when it's time to do it. And I'm sure some of these people that are like crypto influencers, I'm sure they're not like that all the time, right? 24/7. I'm sure a lot of it is entertainment. It is for show. And if pro wrestlers and actors and different people can do it, then I think I can learn to do it. And it's going to be a fun ride to see how I can like improve myself and my marketing and my products and see if I can actually pull it off, because maybe I can, maybe I can't. But anyways, guys, 2 hour mark. I will see you soon. Have a good night.